Okay. All right. Take two. Greetings, travelers. This is Channel 42's In the Cafe. With me today, we have a very, very, very special guest. He's a curator over at the Amino and mod over at the Cafe Discord. Just a fantastic guy all around. Welcome, Captain Admin. It's a
Hello,
pleasure to have you here today. Hey.
Thank you, pleasure's all mine.
Oh, Captain, it's great to see you. I see you've got your character's outfit on there. It looks pretty dapper. I like that.
I've been collecting armor pieces from the whole Viking armor sets that we've been going on with, and that's actually almost concluded now. I believe it's at 73% right now. I think we'll be done within the next day or two, which will be awesome.
Yeah, at
Finally complete the set.
the rate we're going, yeah, I've been seeing the things pop up every time we get another completion on the next tier. So. Yeah, it shouldn't be too long now before all the components are available. Looks pretty good on you, I have to admit.
Thank you. I like the original Viking chest plate, which I'm going to see if or I'll change whenever we get the new armor plating. It's a little bit bulkier versus this one. I like the design where it has the 4 lines and then the 2 chest or shoulder lines in the middle there. So I'm wondering if I'll replace this or not once that comes around.
It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, I have to admit. I'm just doing a little close-up of you right now, looking at your armor.
I've been trying to make hashtag armored geck sort of semi-trend in the No Man's Sky community on Twitter.
Sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
So, today we've got this interview that we've been planning for a couple of weeks now, and I finally got you. So let's do this. You know, you've been a member of the cafe for, I think, pretty much since the beginning. It's been a long, long, long time. Yeah, we made you a curator here. Your work is outstanding. Your stories, you're in every other community, constantly, you know, promoting the cafe. What can we say? You're just like the ultimate curator and cafe member. Why don't you tell us about some of the things that you've been working on, like maybe new projects? Recently, you've started the ship Showdown. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yep, well, recently I decided to start a project that would hopefully become a pilot for Channel 42 called Starship Showdown. And the reason I came up with it was I was looking to replace my shuttle at the time, the NN6 Fucus, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. It was my old legacy ship from Atlas Rises, and it kind of felt like a shame to get rid of it without actually like archiving it and getting proper footage of it before I send it off. And so I came up with the idea to make like a quasi Motor Trend or Top Gear show based around me comparing 2 of my vehicles that I have. And it basically just acts like an episode of Top Gear where they get a random car, or in this case a ship, to test around for a little bit. So what I do is I make a manual save before I get the ship, and I'll save that, and then go and test drive the vehicle, and then flip it back so I can write and do all the reviews and stuff from there.
Oh, what a great idea! Using the autosave to test drive ships and then not actually take it if you don't want it. Which is, I've done it once or twice myself, you know, and it's a fantastic way of just test driving a ship. Do you really want it? You know, reload is a great option. I love the ship Showdown idea, matching 2 similar style ships together, and using the in-game components that it has to compare them, which is really kind of cool. And I don't think anybody has done anything similar to that at all. This is totally original and new, and I love it. I definitely want to put this on, you know, either the channel radio or boost it as just a series that you make in posts. It's fantastic. I love it. Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, that's the main thing with it is I'm not sure exactly what direction I want to take it into. I don't know if it's going to be more like a publication where I make a written review and then just do videos to support it, or if I want to do it as like a live stream I do for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and something like that. The issue with the live format would be that I'd have to find the vehicles first, which I could probably do in advance before I do the video for it. but I'm not exactly sure how that would work logistically speaking. I haven't like done a stream like that on my
Well,
own.
sometimes you can't plan for everything. What I found works best is kind of like an organic growth where you just sort of go with it, keep doing what you're doing, and as things change and get easier for you to, to put all the pieces together, you kind of find your way in a sort of a format that you do. Um, you know, I, I expect a little bit of change, in how it's sort of presented and the way that you're doing it. That's a natural growth, right?
Mhm.
And often those are the easiest and the best ways to do it is just to let it grow naturally. And right off the bat, I like what I'm seeing. Although it is an awful lot of work, there was 3 videos that you put together in that one post. So it's an awful lot of time and effort you're putting into it. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing what else you got. And of course we can always help too. If there's a ship or something you like or whatever, we'll bring you on over and you can do some testing with that specific ship and see what you think, and then do the old showdown.
That's what I thought. It'd be kind of like community fund, not really funded, but sourced. Whereas there are certain ships I could look around for, either on the subreddits they have out for the what was that, the galactic um, portal coordinates. I'm trying to think the name for it. The coordinate exchange. Um, but I can find ships on there or through people who watch the show and kind of go from there. Um, kind of just be organically through that. And the end game of it originally was to find out which ship that would stay in my fleet or not. But I think ultimately it would go into being which ship I like of the two. Which, if you hadn't noticed, I ranked the NN6 Utofocus a little bit higher than the Goose Cruiser. But right now I have the Goose Cruiser sitting outside of the studio right now. So I changed my mind. I found an S-Class version of it and decided to go with that instead.
Wow. Wow, you found the S? That's awesome, dude.
Yep.
All right. Why don't uh, you're an East Coast fella. Whereabouts are you from? Like, you and I have been trying to coordinate times for, like a couple of weeks here. So, I've gotten to know that you're an East Coast. Whereabouts are you down there?
I'm from Western Maryland, in the Panhandle area of Maryland. There, a little strip of land called Allegheny County. It's about 2 hours away from the capital, 2 hours away from Baltimore, about 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. Kind of central location like that.
Oh,
It's a
nice.
nice little area. I live in
Yeah.
a town of about 7,000 people.
How's the weather these days? Is it like rainy, or is it like nice?
It's actually pretty beautiful today. It was sunny for the most part. It's getting a lot colder, which is something I used to like a lot, but as I've gotten older, kind of shied away from. um,
Yeah, yeah. My bones aren't so good these days either. I know the feeling there. Sucks getting old, man. I tell you.
yeah.
Oh man. Lee, you've been playing this game like I think almost since day one. At least the first week. I'm pretty sure of that. What keeps you coming back? Like what do you do on a daily basis that you enjoy that makes you want to come back every day or almost every
Well,
day?
with this game, the way that I feel how it works is that there's pretty much the ultimate open sandbox. You can kind of do whatever you're feeling like at the time. Like there's some days I come on and I go and mine some asteroids and basically spend my day fighting the pirates, or I can go to a hostile planet, which in my one home system there's 3 of them. I can just fly between there and battle the Sentinels. Other days I can just go on and do the Nexus missions and help other people with their missions, which is always a fun experience, depending on who you're with. Um, but really, it just depends on what all you're feeling. I feel like it's like the perfect open sandbox when it comes to space exploration, and I never truly get bored of the game. If there is an aspect that I kind of find kind of dull after a while, I'll just go and change my playstyle. I'll go and make a new save, or go to one of my previous saves like survival or permadeath, and just relax in there for a little bit.
Wow. That's, you know what? I myself, I do all kinds of stuff. I don't really mind so much anymore. I just buy it all, right? Because I've been playing it
Yeah.
for so long. Um, it, it's unbelievable how, you know, we find these things and enjoy them on a daily basis. Like just farming or building, mining. Your character or characters, I should say, you've got several characters which you actively use and develop with in-game lore on the Amino. Um, you want to tell me a little bit about like what about the lore that you produce? It's some of my favorite reading material, and I think a lot of the people want to know how do you come up with the characters and your stories? Because it it's linked so well to the actual game and in-game lore that it's perfect. It's almost as if like you wrote it for the game or the game wrote it for you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's really good. Please, yeah, tell me how do you do that? Like, what do you do?
Well, it started out early on with reading the Star Wars Extended Universe series of books and kind of picking up of what they do in their books, just taking random planets and random characters and making new stories for them based off of the universe that's in. But when I started playing No Man's Sky, I loved the game. It was back in the 1.0 version of the game where it was still pretty bare bones. The exploration aspect was there, and you had the relics and and I guess you had the early monoliths and stuff like that. But really, beyond that, you didn't have much other guiding storyline for it. Artemis didn't exist yet. The Atlas path was there, but it was an arduous task at the beginning of the game, which I decided not really to do. Um, but I came up to it with the original Captain, Captain Truly, was based off of a Mon Calamari character I had in Star Wars Galaxies. Um, that was called Nim. But Nim was a purple Mon Calamari. I think if I had to rebuild Captain Truly in today's game, he would be a Vy'keen. You started out more as being like a traveler-based race, but he'd probably be more of like a dwarf Vy'keen almost. Like he's half Gek, half Vy'keen.
Right.
Um,
Well, you have
or
a Viking character as well, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, he is Scout Dogyard. He's my survivor character. Um, Scout Dogyard is the biological son of my very first weapons terminal specialist, Liquidator Orsky. I found him in the Yggdrasil system, whereas I found, like most of my other characters, I found in space stations as part of my crew for Pathfinder. Um, and actually, just found out recently they've actually brought back the old mechanics where you can actually go to different space stations and recruit new specialists. After Next, they got rid of that, but it
They
looks like this
did.
last update they opened it up again, so you can actually customize limitedly customize, but you can change out who's in your regular crew for your base.
Yeah,
That's
different.
how I found. Sorry.
No, no, that's all right. The different characters and names. I know a lot of us we like that. Find one with a funny name or something that sort of suits what we're doing or whatever. That's nice to be able to do that again because I did miss that ability to be able to choose which person from which space station you wanted as your staff member for the base missions and so on.
Because that's how I found the original Captain Admin. And if you go to my Twitter today, the profile picture of my current profile was Captain Admin as I found him on that space station back before Pathfinder came out. He was just a regular Gek on there at the time in the original space station, just hanging out. I went back after the update came out and recruited him because I liked the name. I was thinking it was like, oh hey, that guy's part of the administration of the game. Let's take him. But after I left the original Amino to go to the Amino Hub, I was known as Captain Truly on the previous community. I kind of wanted to reinvent myself a little bit, and so I took the name of that character after I'd left. And then when Atlas Rises came out, where everything reset, I found out that Orsky and Admin both disappeared from the game. I don't know where they went to. The game kind of, I guess, took them back to their respective systems where I found them, which is long gone now. I don't know where they were. But I decided to take on the character. I decided to take on the character of Captain Admin, and right off, Captain Truly and Liquidator Orsky, they died during the battle, or cataclysm as I called it. Which in my storylines, I mark each new update as a cataclysm. At least it was, because everything just reset. The whole world would destroy itself, come back as something completely different. But Admin was still standing miraculously, with like about half of the original fleet that he used to have of the TSFR, the Task Force Frontier Rangers. And he decided to pick up the pieces in the original Occupod conflicts. And that's kind of where he's at right now. I have a storyline going on with him called Infested, where he goes AWOL to try to stop the biohorrors that are currently infesting the galaxy.
I like that idea. Yeah.
He's traveling to several different abandoned space stations to sort of investigate where these guys are coming from, how they're spreading, what the connection is. And one of the interesting connections I found out with the biological horrors, so not only are there eggs made out of nanites like the Sentinels, but if the Sentinels see you shooting the biohorrors, they will defend them ardently. I thought it'd be something like, oh, if I would do that and the Sentinel came over to investigate, they would like defend me or something like that, like if you versus pirates. But no, the Sentinels are protecting these guys. So I'm thinking there's some kind of connection between the two. Like, if the biological horrors somehow are like some sort of primordial version of the Sentinels, or they're somehow trying to evolve into something more dangerous. I don't know.
Well, I definitely hope so, because it would link very nicely and add to the game's content and you know, deepen that lore just a little bit more. And I think you know, you can, with a little imagination, you can go even further with that as well, and you know, you can create your own lores and stories. Man, you've got some great ideas, some great stories. If anyone hasn't read Captain Stuff, you got to read it. I'm telling you, like, it's very detailed. It's actually just really fun to read. He's I can't tell you how many times I enjoyed your stories back at AH, and then over at the cafe. You know, something I look forward to when I see one of Captain Admin's posts. You know, oh, perfect. I'm going to set aside some time to read this, and you might find it kind of funny because, like, I won't like it until I've read it, because that way I know I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, like sometimes it'll be a day and I just don't have time to read it and be like, oh, all right, well, I'll go back to that. So if I like it, I'll miss it. So I deliberately don't like it until I've read it, and that way I can come. Well, see, stuff happens and sometimes things can get lost in the thread, right, on the main page. So I like to make sure I catch them, right, and that's my way of making sure I always catch them. And then I, you know, of course, once I've read them, I can comment and so on and so forth. But yeah, they're fantastic reads, and it's like reading a real chapter in a book. It really is, and it's all based on the story and the lore of the game within his own characters that he's developed, and he's developed them right from scratch. It's amazing the work that he's put into it.
I've tried my hardest to make sure that everything stays within canon. I always refer back to the Gamepedia's wiki and the other numerous websites, both on Reddit and Twitter, to kind of reconfirm with different pieces like that. And I was just recently reintroduced to the Vy'keen Expeditionary Force, which is a sub-faction within the Vy'keen that kind of explore the outer edge of the galaxy. And they fit very closely into the TSFR that I originally created. A bunch of just rogue volunteers that kind of explore the edges of wild space to see what's there, and to kind of protect those that decide to go out and colonize those areas. Because back before Next came out, the vast majority of the galaxy was uninhabited. There wasn't much there. You see people in random outposts, but the vast majority of the population was either in space or just not there at all. And so the Rangers were kind of my idea of making sure that those that still remain to be a planet side are protected somehow. That's how I came about with that.
Wow. Wow. You've been a part of a lot of big projects through the No Man's Sky community. Um, the NMS Olympics. You've been a part of both of those, I believe. Um, you've done great ambassadorial work to other aminos, helping them with various things. You work with Polo Opita for Get United, another fantastic community social activity. You guys go around, you're helping people left, right, and center. There's almost nothing you haven't done yet. Another project which comes to mind was your great pilgrimage to 42, the Zoberange Galaxy, and you did it in permadeath. Why? What made you think, let's do this in permadeath? I know my reasons, but I want to hear yours because it was a great journey with you when you, myself, and Retska all journeyed to Zoberange Galaxy in permadeath, and I just want to hear. I want to hear, why did you do it?
Well, back before I decided to do the pilgrimage to 42, I hadn't been outside of the Euclid Galaxy at all. So me leaving for 42 was the first time I'd actually left the original galaxy, which I thought was an interesting undertaking for that. But two, I looked at all my other saves that I had, and I still had one active save slot open, which I had not used. And I hadn't really touched permadeath. And it's not because I hadn't tried in the past. I'd made numerous attempts to start up a permadeath save, but each time I did, I failed. I either got caught by the Sentinels and died, or was left out in the weather and just died again, or did something stupid like climb up a mountain and then forget the jetpack down and just sort of tumble down the hill.
Well, it's not easy. You only get the one life, right?
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to prove to myself and to other people that have done sort of the same expeditions in 42 that I could do it, and that I could make a stable character there that it could survive feasibly without too much hardship.
And, well, you successfully did it because we made the jump. We made several jumps to do it, and it was pretty fantastic. We all made it there in one piece, and we've got a whole galaxy to discover in probably one of the rarest saves of all in permadeath.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. It's how open everything becomes when you realize there may be other players out there, but they're on different modes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're one of the rare few that actually did make it to 42 on permadeath, and I feel like unless someone else gets the influence to do this, to pull off a similar stunt, which maybe in the future the gang might. I know they like to do permadeath. Maybe Survival Guru or Niblet from Amino Hub. But until one of those groups decide to do it, we're pretty much the only ones out there in PD.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of possibly setting up, maybe little farms and, starter bays and so on. That might be kind of fun for newer players to enjoy. Should we decide to have a little permadeath community out there? One thing I've been looking for is one of those perfect planets with no sentinels, lush, the whole 9 yards. I haven't found it quite yet. There's always something. You ever notice that? There's always something like gravitino balls, or maybe some heat storms, or.
Sorry.
That's okay. You go on. I want to hear you.
But I actually think I did find a similar planet to that. I think you've been there. New Van Hagar is very, very close to that definition. It is perfect weather, limited sentinels. The only issue I kind of have with it, the way with that is where my base is right now. There isn't that much water on the planet, which I kind of wanted to put next to this big lake. I found the lake is probably only about knee deep for my Gek character, so that was kind of a bummer. But weather-wise and just situation-wise, it's beautiful there, and I enjoy it there. I found another planet similar to it. It has extreme rain though, which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's terrible. You get caught out in it, and it just drains your shields in like less than 20 seconds.
Yeah, tell me about it. You know how many times I've died ship hunting? Oh, I've just step out for a smoke, come back. Oh, there's my grave.
These trading posts are very interesting. You have to kind of position yourself like right next to the galactic terminal if you don't want to get caught in the weather. And if you
Yeah,
get caught anywhere else, it's not really a solid guarantee that you'll be safe there, especially with the NPCs moving around now.
yeah, that they can push you out. Actually, if they walk just right, and you're standing there, and they walk into you, they'll push you. And if they keep going, they'll literally push you right out onto the open there in the trading post before they turn around. It hasn't happened to me quite like that, but I have been bumped and nudged a few times. It's kind of interesting because we've never had that in the game before. And even in multiplayer, back in Next and so on, we weren't able to really bump each other. You just kind of floated through each other, even though that our instances were still there. So this is really kind of cool.
We weren't quite corporeal beings at that point. I remember right after, I believe it was Next, it might have been Next or Atlas Rises came out, but we started to see the orbs for the first time. And I remember Niblet and Boyd and them all getting together on Amino Prime to celebrate it. And there was a picture of all of us that was there, about maybe a dozen or so of us. We were all orbs. We're just kind of standing around. It's just these little blue orbs. And
I do
it's
love
amazing.
the orbs. Yeah.
It's amazing how much multiplayer has come around, because I remember my first experience with it. I was coming onto my home base, and it was buried underground because the world had changed over. There was this guy, I think his name, it wasn't Commander Blue, but his name was Blue.
Blue Sky? Maybe?
Blue Sky.
That is Commander Blue. That is the same person.
Oh, nice.
It is.
Blue Sky was at my base at that time. He was visiting it before the reset. And we both logged in at the same time. And I heard a voice in the background. I was like, hello? Is anyone there? And I heard him in the back. I was like, oh, hey, Captain. But it was amazing. I didn't think that we'd actually have multiplayer with that. Like, actually limited multiplayer, but we did. And I was excited. I was one of the first people to report on that in Amino Hub.
Yeah, that's right.
I believe.
Yeah, we took a multiplayer to a whole new level back with the Olympics, with the orbs. Even before that, people all over the place were doing things. Do you remember the CC for Life, the Calypso crew there? Those guys that there weren't even orbs, and they were meeting up in the same systems and building bases. And stuff like that before there even was multiplayer, before orbs, myself as well with other players in the Twitch community. When you want to find somebody and play with somebody, you can always find a way. And even in a game that's not designed to have multiplayer, with the open world that HG has given us, you can do that. And now it actually is multiplayer, and not just multiplayer, but you don't have to invite somebody to your game to see their instance. You can just sort of fly into their system, and they're there. They're doing what they would normally be doing. And I kind of appreciate that style of multiplayer a little bit more than strictly invites. Because it leaves something more to chance, where you could just randomly fly into somebody's system, specifically if you live in like hub surroundings, right, where there's other players and social activity. There's more of a chance of running into somebody than to actually have to invite them or meet up. Events are easier. You just show up and everybody's visible. You don't have to create a party. So that makes things so much easier, and I do kind of like that, how they've made that slight adjustment. I think our time is just about wrapped up. I have one other question for you.
Okay.
Captain Admin, I ask this question to everybody. Do you, sir, have the answers to life, the universe, and everything else?
I believe I do. And that answer is 42.
Oh, good answer, my friend. Good answer. Right on. Captain Admin, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to hook up and get this interview in. I'm looking forward to more projects of yours. You're a fantastic curator and an awesome mod, and a great friend to have as well. Captain Admin, everyone.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. As long as the game keeps improving the way it has and it keeps reimagining itself, I will be here. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon, and I have a lot more up my sleeve. I plan on going to Calypso Galaxy in my survival save and make a whole storyline around that and finish up
Excellent.
the Infestation storyline, which leaves me with two different really big stories that I want to focus on with that. I'm going to reintroduce some old characters, reimagine some new ones, and I think it'll be great.
I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to read more of your stories. Thank you so much for being on the show. You are a fantastic guest and a fantastic friend and an excellent community member. I can't say enough good things about you, so I'm just going to end it there. Captain Admin, I appreciate everything you do for the community, for the cafe, and for your friends. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, DG. You as well.